Would you like to do the honors of the intro, babe?
Oh,
Since you're leading this one off.
alright, cool. Yo, what's good, everybody, and welcome back to D&D Spilling the Tea. I'm D, your host, and the other D over there, she also the host. We got action-packed day today filled with back-to-back topics because we have been gone for a minute. Today's topic, I'm ready to fight. Why are we fighting? I mean, you might want to fight after the topics, but why are we fighting? So we have three crazy topics today. And so we're just gonna get right in it, cracking and popping, and all the other great things. So first things first, um, do y'all know about this new movie After the Hunt that's coming out, or has been out? I'm not sure. I think it's coming out.
Yeah, because I remember you briefly told me about it.
Yeah,
And
did you hear about it beforehand?
no, I hadn't. When you told me about it, I was like, oh.
Okay, see if anybody else heard about it. In 2 seconds. Okay, so if you haven't heard about it, there's a new movie coming out called After the Hunt. And the story is about a professor who's played by Julia Roberts, who finds herself at a personal and professional crossroads when her star pupil levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, and basically her way of like threatening um, that some of her old aggressions or things in her past will come to light. Um, so basically, um, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's unnecessary to watch the what's it called trailer, but I haven't pulled up. But so that movie's coming out soon. It's a drama, and it stars Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, and Ao. I don't know how to say
That's what I interview came up then.
Ed,
That makes sense.
Ao Edibiri. Edibiri. Okay, and so basically this movie has themes of like race, anti-racism. Yo, what's good, Christy? Anti-racism, on the Me Too movement, that kind of thing. From basically what I've heard and seen. So After the Hunt, um, is gonna be addressing like those kinds of things. Sorry, my hair is covered. So right now they're doing a whole press tour kind of thing. The three of them, Julia Roberts, Ao, and the last boy, Andrew. Welcome back. And so they are doing this press tour, and they were in Italy recently. And this reporter, this Italian reporter, her name is Frederica Polidoro. Um, asked the question. So she posed this question, and she was like, um, "What is?" Let me see if I can read her exact. I don't want to misquote her. I want to read exactly what she said. Um, we do, we do. Um, okay. So here is just two. Yes, yeah. I recently dyed mine, so mine's like a different lighter. So this Polidoro asked specifically to the two white co-stars, right? Not Ao. Now that the Me Too era and the Black Lives Matter movement are done, what do we have to expect in Hollywood? What have we lost with the politically correct era? Something along those lines. So she asked that, but she specifically said she was specifically aimed that at Roberts and Garfield, the two white actors on stage. And so it's really funny. You just see Andrew Garfield go like, "No, this heifer did not." And he just kind of like looks at his two like co-stars, and he's like, "What?" And then Julia Roberts comes in and she goes, "Could you take off your sunglasses and ask again because I can't see who you're directing the can't like your question to." And then she doubles down and asks the same question. Um, Ao responds, and says that I don't think that the movements are done. In fact, I can read her quote right here. "I don't think it's done. I don't think it's done at all. I think maybe hashtags might not be used as much, but I do not think there's work being done by, but I do think there's work being done by activists, by people every day. That's beautiful, important work that's not finished. That's really, really, really active for a reason. Because this world is really charged and that work isn't finished at all." So everybody kind of is up in arms about this, which makes sense because that's a crazy, like, even if you feel like nobody cares about Black Lives Matter anymore or people don't care about Me Too matter anymore, how do you sit here and say basically like y'all are trying to be politically correct, racism doesn't matter, or sexual assault doesn't matter? Like that's basically what you're saying. Like, oh, now that the era of like worrying about people's like mental health and physical health is over, that's kind of crazy to say. Whether you agree with it or you believe it or not, it's just like why would you even come out of your mouth to say that or ask a question like that? You know what I mean? Is it just me? But I feel like that's a crazy question, regardless of where you stand on the political realm of, you know, or like you're a denier of the Me Too app. It doesn't matter. But like, why would you ask that question, like in a public space where you know people will see evidence that you asked that?
And you said that this was somebody in this was in Italy, right?
Yeah, it's an Italian reporter. Um,
Crazy.
one of the things I like here is that we don't have this kind of racism. That's good. Nice.
Must be
I
nice.
think
What's it like?
But I also think that racism is kind of everywhere, but it's also like underlining things. Sometimes it's blatant like this, and sometimes it's like not as prevalent or not as like noticeable. Because even things like colorism, where people are like, you're too dark, you know what I mean? That's rooted in racism. Like that's rooted in white
Mm-hmm.
supremacy, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like for instance, in the Caribbean, in India, they really highlight like skin lightening products, right? Because the fairer your skin is, like the better you are. It's racism.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's
You know that
crazy.
that's the effect of racism.
I think I
So it's like
heard. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish, bro.
uh, no, no, I'm just saying. So it's like uh, things might be directly racist like this, and then there's things that have sprouted and like grown from racism.
Yeah, I think I heard something about like I don't remember if it was Jamaica or it's if it's not in Jamaica, it's in one of the Caribbean places.
Hmm.
Um, I guess there's like a place of like beaches or something where they're pretty much white people don't let anybody else go to in Jamaica. No, it's like they have their own little part of the beach island part of it or whatever, and they just it's other people of color are just not they're prohibited to go there. I
That's
heard,
interesting.
I've heard in some place in like Africa where there's
Mhm.
like white only areas where just white people live.
That sounds like something that's probably South Africa.
Yeah, I think it was South Africa that I
Like
actually
South
heard that.
Africa, they had the apartheid and everything. So that
Oh, right. That's still like literally a thing that they do there, right?
well,
Okay.
no, it's not a the apartheid ended, so they don't
Mm.
so that's oh, but we have other kinds of racism here. They don't allow women with hijabs in some places. That's like well, that could be a couple of things. That could be what's it called? religious prejudice. Yeah, religious prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be what's the word I'm looking? I like I don't. The, the word is misogynistic.
Ah, yeah.
Misogynistic. So it could be those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you talking about like with the hijabs and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like could be like religious persecution.
Mm.
Um, or like I said, it's misogynistic. They don't want women in certain places. It could be a couple of different. But before I forget and we get too off topic, I want to read you all Frederica's response to all the backlash she's been receiving because of what she's done.
The
So
Italian
here's
reporter you're talking about?
yes. What prevents a woman with her job to get into probably uh, so it's just women with her jobs. It's probably religious persecution if it's just women with her jobs and not any other type of woman.
True.
Which is like I don't know what is an ism for that word? Is there an ism for I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll let you know. But here is her response. Following an interview, I have been subjected to personal insults and attacks because of a question that for some reason was not well received by some members of the public. I find it striking that those who unjustly accuse me of racism and consider themselves custodians of justice find acceptable violent language, personal attacks, and cyberbullying. I would like to clarify that rather than focusing on the thoughtful response of Ayo Edebiri, Julia Roberts, and Andrew Garfield, the discussion continues solely on how I should have phrased the question. All the contributions from those present were reported in full in the published interview, without any omissions. Today, I am not aware of any protocol that dictates the order in which questions must be asked in an interview. Censoring or um, delegitimizing questions considered uncomfortable does not fall within the practice of democracy. Only the Journalists Association is authorized to evaluate the work of professionals in the field, not social media um, tribunals. To those who unjustly accuse me of racism, I'd like to clarify that in my work, I have interviewed people of every background and ethnicity, and my own family is multi ethnic, matriarchal, and feminist, with a significant history of immigration. I have collaborated for over 20 years with numerous national and international publications of all political orientations, always approaching my work with openness and professional rigor. In my view, the real racists are those who see racism everywhere and seek to muzzle journalism, limiting freedom of analysis, critical thinking, and the plurality of perspectives. Journalism's role is to ask questions, even on delicate topics, with respect and responsibility. I will not tolerate or accept deficit. I can't even speak anymore defamatory, or violent language, and I reserve the right to seek legal protection against those who, in recent days, have chosen to hide behind the digital mob to insult and attack me instead of seeking a civil and constructive discussion. And that's her official statement.
The fact that
And
she
here,
said frame, the way she framed the question. Ma'am,
well, I,
just
I, I no, well, no, I really do think that there's two issues that I think happened with this. The first issue is the way that she phrased the question. Let's say this is the way she could have phrased it and asked the same question.
mhm.
Now that there's not as much spotlight on the Me Too and um Me Too and
Black Lives
Black Lives
Matter.
Matter movement, right? How do you feel that this film will be perceived? And do you think that because of the lack of coverage, this will be seen as a political correct movie in order to spike more debates or something like that? That's a way to ask the question that she
Mm-hmm.
asked without kind of saying that like these movements don't matter anymore. Instead of saying these
Mm-hmm.
movements don't matter anymore, she's saying these movements aren't at the forefront of everybody's mind. And here
Mm-hmm.
this movie comes that addresses these two things. How do you think that will impact what's going on currently?
Yeah.
That's how she could have phrased it. How she
Yeah.
could have phrased it. And
Uh,
I think the second issue is that she dressed the two white counterparts there and ignored the person of color.
yeah, I think
That's
that's
like
the
the
big
next
thing.
issue.
That's yeah. I think if she wouldn't have singled out only the white people and at the same time singled out the only black person that she or person of color that because I don't know her race so yeah, the only person of color that was in that interview, she didn't directly ask them. She directly asked the other two, non POC. That made it worse because
Yeah.
that right there is showing. It just puts more emphasis on what everybody's been saying. Here we go again. We're in this situation. We're a part of something that is big, and now once again we're being silenced, or we're not being put in the spotlight where we could actually. This is something that can actually, or this. What's the what am I trying to say? Like pretty much this is something that I can relate to, or something that I've maybe had more. I've been more personally in tune and touch with, and
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily. I think it's more of like you didn't see the value in her answering. You
mm-hmm,
didn't think that she could add anything to this. Like as in like you thought that she was obviously subservient, but she was subhuman in this aspect. Like she wasn't good enough to comment on. I think that's really the thing. It's like people are saying like, "Oh, you didn't want to ask her." Oh, because she's not to the pedigree of what you believe dictates someone can talk to you or answer your questions or be present in the conversation. So
mm-hmm.
it just becomes like, and I think she's African by her like the way that she looks in her. So it just comes to the thing that like, oh, okay, you are of African descent, so you are um subservient or not as good as white, or like they like to used to say, white is always right. So you're not right. And so um they have, oh my god. So here are some comments that I find interesting. So one person said, if as she says, journalism is about asking uncomfortable questions. And it's also about being aware of the facts when you ask those uncomfortable questions. To flatly state that Me Too and BLM are over and ask what did Hollywood lose with its political correctness shows a galling lack of understanding and not, hold on, having done even the most basic research. Her long-winded, high-handed, self-centered explanation doesn't do her much good either. Um, mm. And here's like an opposing thought. I said I get a totally different take on her question. I don't see a dig against the movement or AO. It comes across as a dig on Hollywood and the U.S. And the superficiality and redundancy of movies the last 5 years has almost killed the industry. What was the last movie you watched that taught you something new or influenced your way of thinking in a positive manner? Hollywood has become the media's my Mina bird. I don't know what that reference. Ayo is fairly new to movies, so she wouldn't be seen as part of the problem. Andrew and Julia have been in the industry long enough to influence change, but haven't. Interesting.
What? Wait, are they okay? Are they saying like she wouldn't have had as big of an impact as them because she's more newer
No.
in the industry? What
What
is?
what they're Christy is this person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's basically saying that in the last couple of years, that Hollywood, in her opinion, is spitting out similar movies because they're so afraid of being politically incorrect, and they haven't pushed anything out that would break the norm or challenge people's mindsets or change the environment and culture for the better. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's saying that she specifically regarded her question to Julia and Andrew because they've been doing movies longer and they've had the time and experience to be able to be part of movies that would do that, instead of Ao, who is new to movie acting.
Yeah, okay. I get that. I mean, yeah. I mean,
But I didn't personally take her comment like that though. I like the way that she's saying this. This doesn't sound like, and it's like this is how she took it. Like that's how I feel. Like I'm like, I understand what you're saying,
Mhm.
but that's did not sound like what she was asking.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely. You know, I definitely see the point in that comment,
Hmm.
but at the same time, you know, you kind of want to lift up a lot of those rising stars and stuff like that, and give them that time to shine with asking them those same type of questions. Because I mean, why wouldn't you want to get like multiple opinions on that as well? You know, to to yeah, I guess just like I said, I get that. I definitely get that she, you know, why she asked the other two people, but yeah, I think excluding
One
somebody
thing,
out.
well, I'm saying that I don't I think that what that person said was just her own belief. Like I think that yes, like I
Oh,
don't think that's what I'm saying. I'm like this is
yeah.
their opinion of like how they took it, and I just think that
Mm-hmm.
their opinion is like a little naive,
Mm-hmm.
and that they want to see the best in that reporter's intentions. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't because the way that she said this is not the way that she phrased the question at all. And even when she was going back to defend herself, she could have explained exactly like this, and she failed to. So that's why I'm like, I don't. And to say, oh well, she's Italian, she doesn't know. No, because she used English very well in her
Mm-hmm.
attempt to cover herself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, she at least has somebody on the PR team somewhere that can speak English well enough. To, so no, no,
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
And as a, I feel like as a, you know, someone who does interviews, you know, you have to have some professionalism with that too. You know, there's some things that you just need to know. You know, like do you know rights and wrongs of things that you should do. Damn,
Yeah,
you're like hella fuzzy for me now. You know, it's whatever.
yeah,
I'm not
that's
messing
crazy.
with any of this
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't know. The real comedy gold here was when Andrew shifted his entire body to allow the two women to answer that cringeworthy question. And then here's something from this lady. So twice the reporter directed the question to only Julie and Andrew. This was not a mistake, and though people should not be cruel or threatening to her, the reporter messed up big time. Also, why in the world would she have sunglasses on indoors while conducting the interview? Julie gave her an opportunity to correct the situation, and the gesture was lost on her.
Hmm.
And I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Um, and then somebody said this very much gives "I can't be racist because I have a black friend" kind of explanation. Yep.
You what, babe?
Yeah. Someone said, or did you hear what I said? I said very much. This very much gives "I can't be racist because I have a black friend" kind of explanation. And then this person said, yes, just like someone white wearing blackface being wrong, but the movie White Chicks being acceptable and aired every couple of weeks. And racism is multi-directional, not one-way street. Bias and preferences are born in us all. We need to learn, laugh, and love the differences.
Mm. Speaking on the white chicks thing, I think I know what one of your other topics is going to be.
Oh, that's actually not on the
Oh,
document.
it's not. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm
No,
actually surprised.
but we can lead into that since you brought it up.
That's
Right
another
now,
good one, good topic.
Drewski, if you guys know who Drewski is, he does a whole bunch of different skits about different people and different things. Is under fire for doing whiteface. Is what people are calling it. Um, and basically, he did this whole like skit about going to NASCAR, and it was very heavily coded, a little bit too on the nose. I think it's ruffled a lot of people's feathers.
Real quick, babe.
Um,
Um, are you able to do your cam on Discord as well?
Problem.
Yeah, because if I could fix it like that, I'll do it like that. Let me. Yeah, I gotta do okay. Here's this. So I gotta do this, and I'm going to do.
But yeah, I'm not gonna cover that too much. Um, because I mean, there's just not. We could talk about the implications of why blackface is an issue. We could talk about why people are uncomfortable with quote unquote whiteface. We talk about a whole bunch of things, but I'll save that for a different time. If y'all want to check out the video, so that like we can maybe talk about it next.
Yeah, I was about to say
Next
maybe.
day.
Yeah, maybe next week. Maybe that'll be a good topic for next week.
Then we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
Um, but to stay on track, all right, we got another banger coming for you. Okay, so
Another one.
everybody knows what's going on with the United States and kind of like our policies on immigration and things like that. Well, we an issue just happened. I think like days ago today, a couple days ago. Where a candidate, I think from Georgia, and she's actually the only candidate running. So please, somebody else running. Um, called ICE on the Hyundai plant that they just opened and brought a whole bunch of Korean um, employees over to help train um, the workers there so that they could be compliant with all the new USA
Oh, did
issues
you get this from whenever you
after
heard me? Whenever you heard me watching it earlier, is or did you hear before I was
um,
watching it?
I heard it before that.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so she's running for some type of state office in Georgia, and basically a whole bunch of South Korean um people were here on visas, so they were here legally. Um, and they were working in this plant, teaching, and all those types of things. And she called ICE on them. ICE, I mean, I feel like ICE agents don't have a brain cell to split between themselves. You know what I mean? There's a
Literally.
brain cell for the whole fleet. And so she called ICE, and instead of ICE doing their due diligence and doing their like homework to make sure she wasn't just being racist or prejudiced, they just um invaded. They just raided the plant. They raided the plant. And they detained a whole bunch of people. So South Korea was like, you know what? We're good off that. Bring our people back. And I pretty sure from what I've heard, I'm still reading some of the things. They have decided to pull from that plant. Like they're not gonna staff it. They're not gonna use it anymore. And South Korea is one of our allies. So to do that, you basically told one of our allies like fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like we do not give a fuck about you. Um, and we don't
It
want
was
you here.
a what was that? Just a Hyundai plant,
Yeah,
power
a
plant.
Hyundai. Not a power plant. I think it was like
Okay.
a car plant, like
Okay.
cars. It's the battery plant. The
Hyundai power
battery
plant.
plant.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was a 12.6 billion investment in Georgia that also included nearby auto factories that also brought, I think someone said, um, 8,500 new jobs to the area. It was actually really going to help the economy of Georgia, let alone like our economy. So
Economy,
like
right?
yeah, so each kind of state has their own I don't is it GDP, gross domestic whatever. Each state has their own, and then the United States has one. And so that was definitely going to help um that was definitely going to help Georgia. So, and then here's something someone put. The Hyundai plant arrest came just 10 days after South Korean news president Lee Jae-myung met Trump in Washington D.C., where they both vowed strengthen business ties between the two countries. Imagine backing Trump's "Bring Jobs Back" tariffs, then cheering the ICE raid that nuked Georgia's 4.3 billion Hyundai plant. 475 workers arrested, 400K 40K jobs gone. That's not America's finest. That's an economic suicide. You're a walking contradiction and a clown. Um, just crazy. Um, Residents in Korean capital of Seoul were outraged by the operation's optics as footage of the raid showed armored vehicles, shackled workers. In a statement, Hyundai told the Wall Street Journal it didn't directly employ anyone who was detained. And then the South Korean government has negotiated the release of its nationals and is chartering a plane to um, basically bring them home. Um, yeah, the local press has attacked Branham, that's her name, and accused her of using the raid to generate momentum on her political campaign in Georgia's 12th district. And she's the only one who is running in that district. So if you can run there, please help
Yeah.
them.
Run,
Her
yeah,
justi-
run over there and go run, please, expeditiously.
seriously. Her justification of protecting American jobs rings hollow when her actions sabotage Georgia's long-term prosperity, wrote a South Korean business publication called CEO News. Um, and so Branham has remained defiant throughout all, telling Rolling Stone in an interview, "This is what I voted for to get rid of a lot of illegals, and what I voted for is happening." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and from the video that I saw, she said that these people are working, getting paid slave wages.
So
Uh,
yeah, her reasoning didn't make no. It was like she was trying to pretend like she was concerned for the workers. She's like,
right.
these people are getting slave wages. They're being worked. They're being trafficked. And then imagine the implications of saying that a government is trafficking their people to work. That's crazy. So like there's traffickers and there's she was like they're living five people in a house. Like they're like five not people, but five families in a house. And she's just saying all this like she has like no actual valid grounds to say. She's just talking.
Stupid.
She's just talking.
Just yapping, but just doing all the dumb yapping.
Mhm. Mhm. So she's kind of fucked Georgia's economy. Um Real bad.
Mm-mm-mm.
And she has no remorse because she's going, this is what I voted for, and getting rid of
Yeah.
all of these illegal. And there's nothing you can say to people like that.
Yeah, they're literally just so stuck in their ways that there's nothing that will change their mind. You know what that reminds me of? The I don't remember who it was, but there's this lady on Instagram who I follow. She goes and she goes up to, I guess, the Congress building and goes to try to talk to some of these people who are voting for these outlandish laws and everything, and she just
Oh,
literally
I think I've
asks,
seen some.
yeah, so she literally just asks people, like, do you know this, or why are you doing this? Do you know that this is doing this to the people? And they either ignore her question, or they try to justify it in such an idiotic way that it's like, okay, so what you're basically saying is you really just don't care, because you're either silence or you're making excuses for the injustice that's happening. So yeah, so definitely when you say, yeah, it's no change in people's minds, yeah, it's true. People are
Yeah,
people are just stuck in their ways, and they're just like, you can tell them stuff all you want and try to justify it, but they don't care, unfortunately.
yep. So that's happening now. And then we have one more topic for today's. Um, I tried to hit it nice, fast, and on the money.
Yep.
So a couple of weeks ago, I saw this TikTok. Um, and this TikTok was basically saying that they were um rescinding a decision um, for the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act called EMTALA. And basically, what that act does, in case you don't know what that is when you go to the doctor, when you go to the, let me not say doctor, you go to
What's
the
the
emergency
what's
room,
the tell me the acronym for it, babe?
EMTALA, EMTALA.
EMTALA.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act. And so when you go to the emergency room, the hospital, right? Um, your care costs, right? Seeing the doctor costs money. Um, using, like, if you get drugs there, it costs money. If you um get any scans or tests, that costs money. If you have to see any specialists, that costs money. And in a state of emergency, life threatening, or even like, yeah, patient with life threatening, or really, you may not have the money to pay for that emergency visit or that needed hospital visit. You just may not have it, you know, because it's not cheap, right? That medical equipment is expensive. Those medical drugs are expensive. I mean, in the United States alone, it costs 50K to have a baby without insurance. So imagine, and that's not even like, I mean, that is kind of a life altering thing, like you can die at birth. But that's, you're not even usually in the hospital for that long when you give birth. Like 50K is for like an average, easy, non-complicated birth, right? So imagine if you're really sick with a life-threatening disease, like maybe cancer or something, and you get like that, you're in there for months or weeks or something. That's gonna be a hefty bill. I think I saw somebody's comment on the video that said that their baby was in the NICU for like 2 weeks and the bill was like 1.7 million. Oh my gosh. Imagine if you paid that bill. Imagine if you had to pay that bill. Crazy. So what this does is basically like, if you have to go to the emergency room, if you need to get treatment, right? You can go to the hospital and they cannot refuse you treatment regardless of whether you can pay for the treatment or not. That's basically what this bill does. Whether you can pay for treatment or not, um, you are able to go and save your life at the emergency room. Here, the minister just made a law that prevents any hospital from refusing to cure people in emergency that has no money. That's basically what this is. That's base hot dog. That's basically what this is. That's basically what this is. And this has been a law for a minute, from my understanding. But here, right now, we have a new political, um, you know, player on the scene and a new political climate. And so on June 3rd of this year, the Trump administration, their Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, rescinded its prior 2022 guidance that affirmed hospitals' obligation under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act. And so somebody had made it sound like they did away with this whole, um, you know, law that they've signed into things. But no, what they did was they made a provision, and so now they cannot provide life saving abortion care in emergency situations, regardless of law, because that wasn't then covered at that point underneath um, EMTALA. That if you needed an abortion to save your life, then regardless of state law, that procedure can be made. Now they have rescinded that. So, because of that, this rescission removes federal protections for providers in states with abortion restrictions and creates legal uncertainty for hospitals and healthcare professionals, leaving them to navigate the complex and conflicting landscape of state and federal laws regarding emergency abortion care. So basically, now, even if you need an abortion to save your life,
They're gonna save that baby.
to save your, well, to be honest, can the baby even survive without you? So not only are you killing you're basically just killing everyone in that situation, because a baby cannot survive without the mother.
That's
It's
like
still a fetus.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like
So
that story. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's just
Let me know when you're done.
okay. Okay. So it's just kind of like, what is the point of
Hmm.
that? You want to save the children, but that doesn't save anybody. And then she can't have any more children. And I know that some women are even having issues where they had to get a late stage abortion because professionals wanted to stall and make sure that they would not get indicted of any crime, and now they're unable to have further children. So this is actually, I think, in my personal opinion, further decreasing birth rates when I feel like the whole point of this law is to do the opposite.
Yeah. That's like, you remember reading about that story about the lady who was literally a mother, and she had already passed away, and yeah, and literally they were keeping the baby alive in her while she was dead.
Mhm.
Absolute insanity. Yeah, hot
Yeah.
dog. Yeah. And back
Yeah,
to the
they
state where
kept
I
her
used to
alive.
live. Yeah. Back in the state where
They
I
kept her on life
back
support, sorry.
was it in, do you know where it
It was,
was?
I'm pretty sure it was in like Florida or Georgia.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
They were
And
keeping her alive on life support until the baby, because she was brain dead. So
yeah.
everything was like working besides her brain. So they
Yeah.
kept her alive until the baby was born. And when it happened, I think she was only like 3 months along. So like they kept her alive for months. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that they charged the family for the hospital stay, even though they were refusing to like her because the baby was still viable.
Right. Yeah, hot dog. Yeah, the laws here in America are really bad. Like, especially like in Texas where I used to live. Like, there is no my body, my choice over there. It's we are making sure these children are born, and we are making sure that they will be living. Um, Damn whatever happens to you, damn whatever happens to them when they go to any kind of adoption, or any shelters or anything that they go to, foster care. Damn putting them in the foster care system where all these other kids are just already tough to even get homes. And yeah, it's horrible. It's bad. And it's like that in a
Yeah.
lot of different states.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing is that we're really like this whole fight for like to stop abortion, but we still have a crisis when it comes to like adoption, like having adequate quick care for children who are in the adoption system. Um,
Oh,
I mean, there's lots of stories about adopted abused, taken advantage of, used. Um, there's a story I forgot who it was, but this little boy and his siblings were adopted by this couple, and basically the couple ended up killing. Yeah.
yeah.
So
All that to just be put in the foster care system, gets adopted, and then they die. It's like,
so it's just kind of like, what's the point? Like you say it's
yeah,
about the children, but is it about the children? Because we're
yeah,
not even focusing on the children that are here and their quality of life. So how is it about the
yeah.
children?
And because then it's another way of looking at it is like, okay, how are you guys interviewing these people? Like, what kind of like, are you looking at their backgrounds? Like, have they had a history of violence or anything? Because like, how do kids just get adopted and all of a sudden they just end up dead by the people that they get adopted by? Like, what is the process that they're doing to get these kids adopted? Like, are they going through the proper networks? Are they talking to the right people? Because when you hear stories like that, it's like, what? How? You wanted to save the kids, but then stuff like this is happening. But you won't let a woman be a judge of their own body, but you'll let something like that happen. What a world we live in. What a world. Yeah, I don't know if you know about the just a lot of stuff that's going on with America, but yeah, things are definitely going backwards. We are definitely in a cycle that's going around, and it's going back to very dark times. So that was just, and honestly, that was the first thing, the first big thing that happened that kind of started all of the back spinning of everything, just going backwards, just doing stuff that did not help the people, like all people, it literally started it. And now we jump to present, because when did Roe v. Wade get overturned? Because that's what the law was that protected people for their body, their choice, and everything. That's the law that changed it. Let me see. Let me look it up. Let me look up when Roe v.
I
Wade got.
think it was like one of the first things that he had overturned.
Yeah. Roe v. Wade get overturned. Okay, let me see. So Roe v. Wade got overturned on June 24th, 2022. So 3 years ago. 3 years ago, that law that protected so many people got overturned. And ever since then, it's been crazy. Yeah, I was about to say, because that was when Biden was president.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, wait, no, I was thinking, I was like, was Donald Trump the president when that happened? But no, not that far back. Yeah. It was last year that he became president, right? Yeah. Was it, right? Because wasn't the elections in November or something? Metropin? Let me see.
Bro, I don't even know all the dates.
When did I was this year, at the beginning of this year. Yeah, January 20th. Just on the first year of this fucker's presidency is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, Roe v. Wade definitely started all of this just backspinning of just all of this bad choices being made. Because now we've got things like concentration camps that's getting built all around America in different states. Apparently there's one here in Virginia too, babe. Or in DC, one of them. Yeah, I saw a video. I saw a video on Instagram of somebody saying what looks to be like a regular office building or something. It's like a concentration camp. Are you muted? You're muted, babe.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good. Did you mute in Discord somehow?
Yeah, probably. What was I? Yeah, no, I do remember that.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Did you hit it again?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear it. I didn't hit it.
Okay, now I can hear you.
I was like, I didn't hit it.
I was like, what's going on?
Oh, please stop.
Right, stop it. Why you do this?
In the name of love.
Yeah.
But
so
that's everything that
yeah,
I have.
so they did rescind that policy in America, the EMTALA.
They rescinded part of it.
Okay. What part did they rescind?
That's what I'm telling you. The guidance on abortion. So basically,
So they okay.
The state, regardless of what the state law was, if it was life-saving, they were able to perform it. However, now that they've taken that out of it, it kind of basically is like either you give birth or you die.
Which is man.
The guidance is kind
of... The logic, like, where is the logic in that? I'm sure they're working on just removing the policy indefinitely. I'm sure.
Yep.
That's crazy. Well, yeah, that's our topics, y'all. We talk about the After the Hunt movie with the interview. Um, was the second topic was
Um, that politician in Georgia that basically just
mhm,
fucked the rest of um their economy.
yeah, and rescinding EMTALA Act. Partially, part of it is gone. The fact that you have to either give birth or die is insane.
Pretty much.
Yet here we are, living in insane times. That's not the most insane thing that has happened recently. So, just another one of those insane things that has happened recently. And what was that, June? June, you said that it got
Yeah, yeah, just having.
crazy. Oh, all right. Well, um, thanks for coming to our talk to the podcast. We appreciate y'all. Hope that you guys learned something. It's good to educate yourself. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of very important things, a lot of scary times, very scary times that we live in right now. Um, so just, I know everybody wants to kind of just stay ignorant or just, not really pay attention to things that are happening around them. But the thing is, things that are happening around us will eventually affect us all. So just remember that. You can be ignorant to it as long as you want, but know that it is very active, very real, and happening every day. Just, yeah, this part of USA is so hidden for people out. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. We do the podcast every Tuesday. If we don't do it on Tuesdays, it's normally we just schedule it and we let you guys know. Sometimes things come up, but we try to be consistent every Tuesday at 8 p.m. EST. Um, I will be posting the VODs on YouTube still. I did post a VOD today. It was the Sexualizing Women podcast episode we did. So that one got posted today on the YouTube. Y'all can go check that out. Give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, this has been a lot, you know. But it's been your host D&D. We hope that y'all enjoyed the podcast, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, let us know. Hit us up. Come to the live. Go to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment underneath the video. I have a whole playlist of all the podcast episodes. You guys, you can even comment on a random one if about this episode. We could talk about it. So, but just let us know. And like I said, I hope this helped y'all learn something. Hope this is educational for y'all. Um, yeah, we appreciate y'all. Stay hydrated, practice your self care, and as always, peace, love, and positivity, y'all. Till next week. Boing.